That's exactly how it went.
And the last thing on our agenda is 9C, Delegation 2023, proposed legislation. Ms. Delmasmal, do you want to kick off the conversation?
I'd be happy to.
And
I'm sorry.
we have 17-ish minutes.
I will talk really quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the delegation has come forth with proposed legislation that impacts the school system. The first one is burden of proof, which is a position that we've taken in the past, and from looking at it, I believe we already have on deck testimony that could fill for that particular piece of legislation. The other piece of legislation that we do not have anything for is the changing of how the Howard County Board of Education members are elected. And in a very short description, they basically utilize the state senatorial districts as opposed to the councilmanic districts, and it then allows the county executive to appoint 2 individuals to the Board of Education. It is my understanding that there's a possibility that there will be some amendments that will come forward with regard to this particular piece of legislation. However, I propose that due to the fact that this bill most definitely impacts the Board of Education, that as written, we need to take a position, because I think to fail to do so at the very least would be considered that we don't care, or at the very worst that we thought this was a good idea and we just decided to let it go. So, as I said, I would propose that we ask Ms. Lutke to provide some testimony for us that show, if of course we all agree, or the majority of us agree, that the legislation is not something as provided right now, as currently proposed, is not something that the Board of Education would support, and that perhaps we can get some input from the different board members as far as what we don't particularly like about it. I will start with saying that I believe that it takes power away from our constituents and the voters. I believe that, especially at the local level, it is very, very important for our constituents to be able to have as much control as possible as to who are their elected representatives. Thank you.
Everyone will be brief. Ms. Mallow, go ahead.
2 main points. One is process. So with regards to process, the process generally is if a bill comes before us, the legislative committee, with the help of Ms. Luking, will evaluate it and make recommendations to either bring it forward to the full board or to hold it and to wait and see. And then it comes onto our agenda regularly through the auspices of the legislative committee. This would be going outside of our standard practices, and I don't think it's particularly, it's not an emergent issue in my mind, given that after speaking with the authors of the bill, they indicated that there are forthcoming changes. So rather than take a stance on a bill that we know is going to change, I would rather that we follow our standard processes. And then with regards to the other bills that are education related, I believe Ms. Luking has already prepared documentation because it aligns with our already approved legislative platform. And so that's already been taken care of and is ready, I believe, ready to go. And so for that reason, I am not supporting taking a stand on this particular bill, even as drafted. I think it's not the best use of our time, energy, and it hasn't been reviewed and vetted by staff to give recommendations of how it would affect the school system, let alone just the Board of Education. So, thank you.
Ms. Delmasmal?
The unfortunate piece of this is that I understand and I appreciate the process we have. However, I don't we do not have the luxury of it going through the legislative committee. We, as a whole board, are capable of providing a position on particular legislation. And as I said, I too heard that there could be possible changes. And if there are changes or amendments or whatever, we can then continue to provide additional input. I just do not want us to miss an opportunity to be able to take a position on a very important piece of legislation that takes control away from our constituents on how the school system operates.
Dr. Liu?
So our next board meeting is December the 15th, but for this local bill, the public hearing was on December the 14th. So which means that we won't have time to vote on that if we receive input from the legislative committee on December 15th. Because it's time sensitive, I'm supporting this motion because I think that we'll need to voice out about the current local bill, because I understand that some board members talk with the authors of the bill, but not all of us talk with them, and we are not aware of what changes they're going to make. So for me, I just look at the current version. Because they have a public hearing on December 14th, I think we'll need to provide testimony and show them our positions. So I'm supporting this motion. Thank you.
Ms. Mosley?
I understand that it feels like it's a rush, but it's only the public comment that is on 1214. It's not their decision-making. Their decision-making is going to flow into January, so there's no rush. And I actually think it's very important that we hear the public comment that comes through on 1214 before we, or even amendments that come through before that hearing, before we make, as a board, a decision on where our stance is, because I think it's very important for the public to have not, to have their open voice heard and not be influenced by what the Board of Education thinks. So I think that we should be discussing it after the public comment, and more so after we see amendments that may be filed. I also reached out to both the authors of the bill, and I feel comfortable in waiting until after public comment to take a stand on the bill.
Dr. Chen?
So I actually emailed the author, but no response so far. But I think from the feedback, the time sensitivity, and the direct impact on the board, I think there's no other way we should take a stand now before it's too late. Thank you.
Okay, that is pretty much all the comments we have. I'm going to go back to Ms. Delma-Small. Is this something that you want to make into a motion? Oh,
Yes.
Ms. Mello, so sorry.
Oh,
Ms.
sorry.
Mello, go ahead.
Just for follow-up for particularly our new board members, there will be many, many bills that come forward before us for comment, and we will spend countless hours at meetings reviewing this. And given that we know this one is going to change, the only thing we would be doing is commenting on something that we know is going to be different and possibly within the week. So if we wait until January, we still have lots of time to give testimony. And in fact, that is why we have a legislative committee, and we have a legislative committee to the Maryland Association of Boards of Education. We will provide testimony on this. It doesn't have to be next week. It can be in January, in February, once more work is done on modifying the bill so that we're not jumping the gun. Thank you.
And I want to speak one more time to process. Ms. Mello mentioned this. The legislative committee typically reviews. Ms. Luking is typically involved, and she comes forward with an exhaustive list. She's actually really good at her job. Comes forward with an exhaustive list of things that we should consider, actions that we should take, and so we have a more cohesive and collaborative process in place, so that we are not kind of in a panic mode, which is what this would feel like if we take a position without kind of going forward. Dr. Chen, I'll give you the last word, and then we'll go back to Ms. Delma-Small.
based on my experience, I think although if it's a bill keep changing every time, we can comment based on the status of it is. I think, we need to give some position taken. We cannot wait for it's a final, and we don't know whether it's a final. So,
Ms. Delmont-Small?
Yes. I also would like to point out that contrary to other legislation, we were not consulted prior to this bill being proposed, and that my concern is that our silence will speak volumes and not in a way that benefits our community. So I move that the Board of Education oppose HOCO 10-23, Howard County Board of Education membership alterations.
Second.
Ms. McCoy, to the motion.
Out.
Okay. All right, that's all we have. Ms. Harrison, you can call the vote.
I have a motion by Ms. Delmont-Small and a second by Dr. Liu to move that the Board of Education oppose HOCO 1023, Howard County Board of Education membership alterations. Dr. Chen,
yes.
Ms. Delmont-Small,
Yes?
Dr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Mallow,
No.
Ms. Aula,
Yes.
Ms. McCoy.
I think I need a little clarification. Is this to say in the form that it is today, not what it will be? Because that's not clear.
Right, correct. It would be to what has been proposed.
Okay, but that's not what it's saying. That's not what your motion said. It was just opposed to the
The current
Right,
bill.
proposal.
I titled
You
the,
said current. Is that, did you say?
Ms.
current?
Harrison, can you please repeat the motion?
Yes,
And we will be
please.
voting
Thank
on
you.
the motion as it is stated.
Okay, I have moved that the Board of Education oppose HOCO 1023, Howard County Board of Education membership alterations.
So it did not say current?
Ms. McCoy, please cast your vote.
No.
Ms. Mosley,
No.
Ms. Watts.
No.
Motion fails 4-4.
Thank you all. That concludes our meeting today. Ms. Delmont-Small, do you have something? Oh, board reports. Do you have
I
something
would-
for board reports?
No, I would like to make another motion.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you. I move that the Board of Education oppose the current version of HOCO 10-23, Howard County Board of Education membership alterations.
Second. And do you need to put on a date as of December 5th, 2022?
Yes.
So it's making it more clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Harris, if you could add that to the end of the motion, I would appreciate it,
Okay.
so that there is no confusion.
Ms. Mallow, to the motion.
I thought I lowered my hand.
Ms. Delmont-Small, is your hand still where's? Okay. Okay, Ms. Harrison, call the vote.
Okay, so I have a motion by Ms. Delmont-Small and a second by Dr. Liu to move that the Board of Education oppose the current version of HOCO 1023, Howard County Board of Education membership alterations, December 5th, 2022.
Or as of December
As
5th,
of,
20, yeah.
sorry. Okay, as of December 5th, 2022. Dr. Chen,
Yes.
Ms. Delmont-Small,
Yes?
Dr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Mallow,
No.
Ms. Aula,
Yes.
Ms. McCoy,
Yes.
Ms. Mosley,
Abstain.
Ms. Watts.
Abstain.
Motion carries 5-1-2.
Okay. So that